Chris, thank you so much for joining us today, man. I know you're probably a very, very busy human being, but genuinely excited to sit down and talk with you, man. Obviously, we've worked very closely for years now.
Yep.
I see you in the parking lot quite a bit, and you're always busy. I'm always busy. So, man, I've been excited to actually sit down and actually have a full conversation with you, because I don't think we've ever actually had the chance to.
I don't think we have. Yeah. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. And for everybody listening, today we have Chris Kana. He is the owner of Cafe 7. You're involved with a number of other restaurants, right?
Yes. The Hamilton Supperette and Lounge in North Park Mall. And then
love the Hamilton, man. I didn't know you were involved with that one. Okay.
That's like our favorite child.
Yeah.
And then Dado's Pizza.
Dado's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How's Dado's do? That one got so much attention when it first started. I always tell people about the authenticity of that one, of you guys. What is it about the water that's similar to the water in New York City?
Yeah. So the water in New York, it's almost pure. So it's a 7.2 pH, very low water hardness, and high mineral content, because all that, their water supply comes from the Catskill Mountains, from the aquifers in the Catskill Mountains. So it flows through all that granite, picks up all the mineral. So it, whenever you go to New York City, the bagels, it's in the water. That's why everything, it's why the bagels taste so great. So what we do is we have a machine that it's got an ozone, a series of filters, and a mineral tank. So Oklahoma City water goes in, we lower the water hardness, lower the pH, and we add mineral content to it. So it comes out New York City water on the other side. And that slows down our proofing process to 72 hours. So it has more time to develop the glutens, more flavor, chewier crust. Without it, our dough would proof in 18 to 24 hours, and it
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference. 18 to 72 hours.
Right.
That's nuts.
Yeah. I know my sister and brother-in-law, they used to live in New Jersey, and they both worked in Manhattan, and my brother-in-law, he grew up in New Jersey, and just like an hour or two north of the city, and they both gave it a rating, and they said it's the most authentic. Yeah, sorry. Authentic New York style pizza they've ever had outside of New York.
We'll take it. We'll take it. High praises.
Yeah, absolutely. From some actual New Yorkans, so New Yorkers, whatever. I mean, I'm struggling today.
That's authentic from the New Yorkans.
I'm authentic.
I mean, we've had like 90-year-old grandmas come in, and they eat the pizza, and they're like, "Oh, this reminds me of my childhood growing up in New York."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
I bet that's cool. I bet that's one of the coolest elements of that is to hit that for the person that knows New York style pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool, man.
That's awesome.
So we're getting into some details. How many restaurants are you involved with?
So here in Oklahoma City, we have the 3, and then we have some interests in Tulsa at some other restaurants. Boston Avenue Grill downtown, 2 New York Bagels, our bar, and Roosevelt's.
Gosh, is Cafe 7 kind of the main one you have ownership in?
Right. Well, Cafe 7, the Hamilton, and Dado's.
Okay.
And then we have some investments in those other ones.
Okay.
But we also band together and call ourselves a restaurant group. So for buying power.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That makes sense.
What's is there major benefits to having more of a group, like, because I feel like I've seen that more and more of, like, it's more groups within restaurants as opposed to individuals.
I mean, you get better pricing, deeper discounts, bigger deviations, and you just get like treated better by your suppliers. The more you buy,
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's annoying, but that makes
sense. I mean, for so long we were like on the, we just had Cafe 7 and it was just like, man, what do we got to do to get ahead? We need
Yeah.
to open up some more restaurants.
Well, it's funny, even for us, like when we had one location versus now when we have 3 locations and, trying to grow and continue to do things, we've had issues or different things pop up with different things. And now it's kind of nice to be like, we've got 3 locations and we're opening more, like, and they're always, they seem to be quite a bit more helpful.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you probably get better customer service.
People, want to have their products in 3 stores a whole lot more than want to have them in 1 store.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That even just, like you said, the buying power, like where we used to, for example, sometimes when we're buying like the new energy drinks that are coming out, which are just getting crazy popular in this supplement industry, is sometimes you'll have to buy directly from these places, and to be able to make shipping make sense, you have to buy a full pallet of just one flavor. And when we had one location, it was like a full pallet of one flavor of energy drinks. Like, where are we even going to store that? Like, they have 6 flavors. But now it's with 3 locations in the warehouse. It's just like, okay, like if we divvy that up between 3 locations and keep some at the warehouse, and it's like, oh, we'll actually go through that pretty quickly. So
split the shipping cost 3 ways. I mean, it's
makes it easy.
Yeah. And then getting a lot of everything shipped here, and then we just have Thomas deliver everything. I was the delivery guy for quite a while.
Now I'm the delivery boy.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of vehicle are you driving out of?
I drove his.
Okay.
I drove the Suburban.
Yeah. I got a new vehicle about a year ago. I was driving a pickup truck, which I was doing deliveries in, and then that needed so many repairs. It was totaled essentially, that I buying the new vehicle, I found the one with the most cubic feet of storage that I could find, and it was outside of like a creeper,
van,
transit van, which I didn't really want to roll up to the gym in that. So I set it on a Suburban, which was like, it had about as much as like a minivan. So
Suburbans are nice, a lot of
You
room.
fit a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah. Are you guys doing a lot of distribution with what you're doing now?
We do a bunch of deliveries.
Okay.
We deliver every single day.
Whoa.
And then weddings, anniversary parties. We have corporate catering coming out our wazoo. So Monday through Friday stay pretty busy, and then pretty much from now through the end of December is going to be holiday parties. We have a bunch of weddings. I mean, it's about to get real.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. So somewhat seasonal in that sense.
Yeah, it'll slow down a little bit January, February, but then March, April, May starts kicking into wedding season. I'm already booking weddings for next year. So I mean, it just never stops. Which I mean, that's good with me, because if it wasn't like that, then I'd probably be doing something else.
Yeah. You get bored easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I work every single day that I'm in town. I will work every single day. I can never just sit at home. If it's a Saturday and there's nothing going on catering wise, I'm going up to the restaurant to help out or do something. But
are you typically involved in a lot of those caterings?
I would say 90% of them. But I also, we're at a point in time in our restaurant growth to where my business partner Jay and I can take a couple steps back, and we can kind of pick and choose when we want to come into work or when we want to take off.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, it's like, I think this summer I took off like almost every weekend.
Right.
Nice.
Just, going to Vegas, going to New York, going to somewhere. Scottsdale.
You know what's funny? The way you said I took off almost every weekend. Like, I feel like some people have this mindset of like, oh yeah, I get off on weekends. Like, that's just expected. And you sounded so thankful to have almost every weekend off. And I get that. I understand that so much of like, yeah, if I could just have a weekend, maybe a Saturday every once in a while, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want a Saturday off. I want the whole weekend. I want to disconnect from everything. And then I'll come back after the weekend fully refreshed, ready to get back into it. But, I mean, You guys definitely stay pretty busy with those caterings, though, man. That's I think I see you guys out back of the Cafe 7 by us. Are there other Cafe 7 locations? That's the only one. We did have one downtown, but it closed during COVID.
Gotcha.
It was open for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it was open for 8 years. So,
gosh, I can't imagine. I'm jumping around a lot, but like being a restaurant during COVID, I'm sure was tough.
It was awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, let's just do to-go orders. We had to furlough like half of our staff and, and then, even whenever we brought everybody back on after the little 2-week whatever hiatus, it was like everybody's hours were limited, and I mean, it was just a bad deal for everybody.
Yeah, a lot of adjustments, I'm sure, man. But yeah, sorry. Back to the catering, man. At the location in Quail Springs, man. That's I feel like I just always see you guys back there with big coolers, packing, cleaning up after an event. So, was there anything in particular that? Like, did catering just kind of come naturally to you guys, or was that something that you guys really pursued? Or
I mean, we've always, so whenever we opened up, we've been open for 15 years, and we always wanted to do catering from the very beginning, push catering. So I mean, I remember we started out. I was like, we did our first 100-person wedding, and we were so psyched. And now I can send 3 people to a 100-person wedding, and it's like nothing,
Yeah,
and
right.
yeah. I mean, we're doing this past Saturday. We had a $13,000 event, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, and it's everything just comes so naturally now, and is so easy. So I mean, it's easy to take on like all the biggest caterings you can.
Yeah. Is there a limit to it at all? Like, how many people you can cater for?
We've done up to 500.
Okay.
That's about it. I feel like we could, depending on what's being served, we can probably do more.
Yeah.
But yeah, 500 is about the biggest one we've done so far.
That's a ton of people to feed, though.
Yeah.
That's a ton. You think like cooking, for people coming over for the night. You know what I mean?
I can barely cook for myself, Alyssa, and Riley.
I know.
3 people is about my max.
Golly.
I mean, there have been times when we've had to like rent U-Hauls to load up all of our catering boxes and all our catering stuff and take it to events.
That's amazing, though. That's crazy.
Have you put so you mentioned that it's quite a bit easier nowadays. Have there been a lot of systems that have been put in place for that to become easier? Or?
Absolutely. And we're like still learning every single day, but it's, we have our cooking times down to where, if we have, we're doing a grilled chicken for a wedding, we can time it to where we pull it at 151 degrees and it will cook up to 160 degrees by the time it's ready to serve. And it will be just as juicy, if you were being served it right then and there when it came out of the oven. And
right.
Okay.
Pasta, pasta's real hard to do because a lot of the caterings I've been to with pasta, the pasta's mushy, it's soggy, it's falling apart. I mean, we have it down to where we cook it for, 4.5, 5 minutes, and we wrap it and we put it in our hot boxes. And an hour later, whenever we're serving it, whenever we're saucing it, it is perfect al dente. And
right. Well, that's the thing that's crazy is because, you have to have you have to be ultra efficient with your time.
Yes.
But not only ultra efficient, you have to have it down to a science where this thing is going to also be perfect at the time you need it to be perfect. Like you say, that's really interesting because it's like you almost like with a pasta, you're not cooking it all the way to done. You're cooking it close so that it can sit in a hot box and just creep to doneness.
Exactly.
So right as soon as you're serving it, it has just been ready.
Exactly.
Like it just came out of the water.
There's something fun to that. I can't imagine doing that on a level for an event like 500 people, but like I understand like there's like a fun element to it of like even just like cooking my food at home of like, okay, I'm prepping a couple of meals for tomorrow and one for tonight. It's just like, okay, like I put oatmeal, I start boiling water for some oatmeal and I start put some eggs on, and if I do this, and then it gives me a little time to do that. But yeah, man, I can't imagine what that's like to do that with like a full team of people. I mean, man.
It just the stuff you do in like your everyday life, it just carries over, but into a bigger scale, basically the same principles.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But that's cool. I mean, but I agree though. That's I think we were kind of talking about earlier some different experiences that people have going to different places, and you can tell when a business cares and when a business doesn't. Right. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And that is like, I think that's one of the things that you're talking about now is like, hey, how do we figure this out so that this, so that when the food is served, it's perfect, not just there. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the thing that keeps people coming back. It's why you've been in business for 15 years. I know you've gotten plenty of my money anytime I'm at Quail Springs coming over for sandwiches or whatever, specials you guys got going on. But that's cool, man, because again, it's like, it would be, I'm sure, like you said, you've gone to other caterings or been to events. And I know I've been to events when stuff's catered where you're just like, oh, like this just is, everything's mushy. It's just not great. It's like, but all right, this is what we're having. Or like a wedding. And it's like, I went to a wedding one time where like it was, I forget what kind of, it was maybe Mexican food, and it was good, but it was like one thing that they did that was like included in everything you could tell was burnt. And then it's just like everything just tastes like burnt, whatever it was. And you're just like, yeah, all right. Like,
not good. Not good.
Not my favorite. Like, that's tough.
Yeah. What would you say? So like obviously catering, like you guys are doing a lot. Would you guys say that you're doing more catering or more at the restaurant?
I would say that 40% of our business is catering right now.
Wow.
I mean, it's at Cafe 7, it's just a bunch. We have, like I said, we have stuff every single day. But I mean, some days it's maybe 10 to 20. Some days it's matched. It's 50%, it's 50-50. Some days it's even more than that.
Yeah. Okay. That's it's always interesting to me of like sometimes retail isn't just specifically for retail. I guess not retail, but like commercial space isn't just necessarily for just that space to be like to make sales out of that space. That sometimes it's just a hub. Like do you know jerky.com?
Yes.
I don't know him personally or the guys personally there a whole lot, but I remember learning that we were working with some marketing guys that were helping them out, and they were talking about that their retail location is legitimately just their hub for online, that like almost all of their sales are online. Right. But if they're got to be somewhere, if they need a space, like, yeah, we'll pay a little extra and we'll be able to sell some jerky right out of where we're at. So yeah, interesting that, you guys are doing so much catering out of there that's to be 40% or even 50% sometimes. So yeah. And you guys are obviously always packed in the restaurant as well, man. You even have that whole event space.
Yes. Yep.
Does that get used pretty often?
It gets booked out probably 2 to 4 times a week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's, office lunches, and then it's a lot of baby showers, bridal showers, rehearsal dinners. But that's like during the day, that's my office, because our other office at Cafe 7 is kind of small. It's loud. So I office out of next door. So I mean, So if there's events in there, I'm just like staying at home. I'm not coming in.
You got to work where you got the space, man. I'm a big coffee shop guy myself. Of like, it's if I'm here, there's always random stuff that's happening. If I'm in store, I'm not getting anything done. That's for sure.
Too many distractions.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll get a little bit of work done from home. But if I can go to a coffee shop where there's stuff going on, but it's like none of it involves me, it's like I can focus. So get my work done where I can be the most efficient. So
what kind of led you guys? Because obviously the 3 restaurants are all quite a bit different in kind of what you do. What kind of led you down those paths of those kinds of restaurants?
So Cafe 7 was the first one, and it opened in 2008, 2009, and it was supposed to be a Witch franchise. You know how like you fill out the ticket at Witch?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we have the tickets that you fill out. But Witch's franchise fees were too high, so it kind of evolved into Cafe 7, pizzas, pasta, salad, sandwiches, and as soon as we got that up and running, Jay and I were like, let's do a bar, but like something like higher scale. So that's kind of how we fell into the Hamilton. And things just worked out kind of perfectly for that one. I thought it was a horrible location based on the fact that it's on the backside of North Park Mall. And there was nothing in North Park Mall. But I mean, it's done better than we could have ever thought it would do.
Such a cool place.
And we opened up the Speakeasy on the other side, or connected to the restaurant that's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's been well received. And then the pizza place, I was in New York City in 2022 on New Year's Day. My buddy has the original Dado's in Harlem. And I was like, I'm going to go try this out. I'd like to try a slice of his pizza, support a friend.
Yeah.
And I took one bite and I was like, holy shit. Like, this is really, really good. Like, I need to bring this to Oklahoma City. It's like, what do we got to do? And from there was like, right, well, I mean, it's the water. We got to make it, match. And we went to there's a pizza expo in Vegas. And that's where we found the New York water maker. And, I mean, things started off gangbusters there, kind of died down, and it is back to pre-opening levels.
Really?
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep. Interesting enough, we actually have a buddy that owns some Domino's franchises in Indiana. And yeah, he was talking about that, about how their first day, he bought one location and then opened two new ones. And how his first day is always his busiest day. So to hear that, because we're kind of a little bit in the opposite boat where we slowly grow over time, but yeah, to be back to opening levels as far as sales go, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, like the first month was crazy, insane, and then it tailed off after all. After people found out, novelty kind of wore out, and then for some reason this past March, I mean, I think somebody put a reel out. And then there was that pizza contest through the Oklahoman, and it was like the next day is like sales over last year up 75%, 75%, 80%, 100%. I mean, it was and it's been like that ever since March.
Wow. Isn't it amazing with the power of social media how it can just be one person makes a TikTok about something, and it's like, if you are on TikTok at all, but it's like there was like the Keith Lee guy who lives in Vegas, and he would just give like honest reviews of restaurants, and he like blew up into like millions of followers. And he'd like have these places either reach out or he'd find them, and then he'd just kind of give them an honest review. Like he'd always try to be really candid. If he liked something, he liked it. If he didn't, he didn't. But he's a really like kind of wholesome guy. And it's like, and then that restaurant would post pictures or like reels themselves like after, and there's a line down, like hundreds of people, like the Twins event, like lined down the block, and you're like, this is crazy. And it's like, it just takes one thing like that can just like completely change something.
I know I come across like even just on Instagram reels, like people in Oklahoma City doing reviews all the time, man. Like, and it seems like it's always someone different too, and they always have a decent amount of attention.
Yeah.
Have you guys worked? Sorry, go ahead.
We have worked with a couple of those influencers, and I was staunchly against social media influencers, hated them until that fateful day in March when they posted that reel. And the next day, like, sales went through the roof, and I'm like, okay, maybe we should partner up.
Maybe I was wrong about this. Yeah.
I owe them a big apology. I mean, I just thought they were like prima donnas and, just attention seekers. But I mean, I'm a believer now.
Yeah.
Have you guys pursued any others or any more in that realm of things since?
So we've kind of partnered with one of them, and we partner with her every 4 months. And she'll come in and make a reel about, maybe some specials we're doing just to keep us at the top of mind.
Yeah. So that's awesome. It's kind of interesting. Have you focused that attention more on Dado's? Cause like it's based off what I'm hearing, it kind of almost sounds like Dado's can be kind of trendy up or down a little bit more, where like Cafe 7 seems a little bit more potentially more stable.
We've actually done it with all three of the restaurants.
Okay.
And, the day after they put that reel out, sales for the next 2 weeks are like 30 or 40% up.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So, I mean,
and I'm sure that's something that you could overdo. Like if she's putting out a video every single day, you can't go 30% every time.
Right.
You can overdo it, and then it starts to have a negative effect potentially. But yeah, got to be a light touch, I'm sure.
Very interesting. So with this New York water maker, you mentioned bagels earlier. Have you ever played around with the idea of trying to make any bagels out of there?
Man, we thought about it. We thought about opening up a bagel shop, but then our spot got taken. Because we were kind of looking at that fuzzy spot that's on May and like 70th, right there, south of Wilshire.
Okay.
because it used to be the Freddy's frozen custard. And we're like, oh, that'd be a perfect spot for a bagel shop. And then it got rented. So, yeah. But I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, I was thinking about it probably a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I should bring like 10 gallons of that water to one of the bagel shops in Tulsa and let them make bagels with it, and then we'll test out the difference.
Yeah, for real though. I love bagels. I'm a big bagel guy, and so it's always like, you know, you can find bagels in Oklahoma City, but there's not like an abundance of them that you can find.
Not. Yeah.
And so, you know, you got this, you got New York water being freshly made.
Is there any like validity to what I said earlier of like the Cafe 7 being, because like I see like at Cafe 7, it seems like a lot of people on like their lunch break at work, because we've got all of those office buildings behind us. And but yeah, where you talked about, you know, Dad House, I remember seeing everybody posting about Dad House, especially when it opened up. Man, is there any back and forth with one being more stable than the other, and Hamilton included? I mean, I would say that so Hamilton has a different business flow than Dado's or Cafe 7. I mean, Hamilton's business flow is really weird because football season, Saturdays, complete ghost town. And that's pretty much like all football season. You know, once like spring break hits, ghost town. But whenever school's out, like Dado's and Cafe 7 are riding real high. Football season, I mean, it does not slow catering down any.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some weddings because people stay away from them on game day, but I mean, we've had a handful of weddings on game days, this year, both OSU and OU. But I don't recall that, you know, I don't recall football slowing Cafe 7 down as much as it does at Hamilton.
Like businesses complement it all, seem like it all?
I'm sorry?
Did they complement, like, does, you know, if one slows down, does another get busier? Or
I'd say it just depends on the type of year, or on the time of year.
Yeah.
You know, from November to January, not including game days, the Hamilton is packed out. I mean, I was looking at the calendar today, and we have people renting out the speakeasy at least 4 nights a week, starting in November, going through Christmas. But I mean, it's just like I said, it just depends on the time of year.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how much football affects things in Oklahoma City?
Gosh, and
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like we have to be careful of our events, like whatever we're doing. Like it is like we immediately task somebody with like check the football schedules. Who's doing what? Is it a home game? What time's the game? Is it bye week? What's going on?
There is nothing that is more predictable as far as how busy our stores are going to be than OU OSU football. It is like if it's football season and there's a day game, it's like, and like we try and predict based off of like weather and the seasons. Like we've had days, I'll give this as an example. We've had days where it's an ice storm out for like 3 days straight. And this was earlier on, and I would just send, tell the employees, hey, if you don't feel comfortable driving, don't come in. I'll just go up there. I live like a mile away. I'll hang out in the back and I'll do my work there. And if anybody decides to come in, I'll at least be there and be open. I'll make a little story post and everything. And then I go up there and I do that, and then it's just gangbusters. Yeah. It's like there's so ice weird on the roads, guys. What are we doing?
Like, I didn't have to go to work. I'm going to try it.
Right. Yep. And so like it's whether you just like, for us at least, like you just can't predict it at all. And I think there's some validity to that for sure. Of like people are off work, so they don't do their shopping.
But I remember we had the ice storm, and we didn't have power, and we're like, we'll be open. And it's like, we're telling people we don't have power, and like, we're coming anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, OU football game is on. Like, forget about, like, it will definitely be dead.
Yeah. Bring work to do.
if OU football loses, it kills sales because people are in such a bad mood. They do not want to get out.
Okay, I've been curious about this, and I haven't looked close enough. But after OU Texas, I was wondering about that. Yeah. I was like, all right, like what are sales after the game, depending on if they win or lose.
Man. Yeah.
You guys have noticed a difference?
Oh,
though?
yeah.
Absolutely. That's crazy.
Well, at Hamilton especially, because it's a night dinner place. But if there's last year, because there were a bunch of 11 o'clock games, and if OU would lose, night would be dead. Completely dead. Like, people are not coming out. They are not happy. They are just gonna sit at home and sulk.
That's so crazy.
Who was oh gosh, who's the quarterback for the Eagles now?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah. So I think it was like when he was quarterback at OU, like his mentality was like when they would lose, they would go to the weight room. And I'm like, I hope all the OU fans, like after Texas, have that mentality. Yeah. I got to hit the weights. I got to go get my protein powder. Should make a post about that.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. That's so, I mean, I get it. People, it's
the only thing that will predict sales, is college football in Oklahoma, at least for us. So
it makes people do weird things.
I'm sure. It's funny because then we also have like, especially in Norman, the Norman store has like a. It'll be definitely dead on a, like an OU football weekend. So like on a Saturday if there's an 11 o'clock game. But you will always get the like people who are there and they'll come in. Of the game on or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm out because the game's on." The whole city's a ghost town. I get all my shopping done. I go to I can go to Crest, I can go to Triad, and I don't have to worry about a whole bunch of people everywhere. And it's like, I guess if you're not in the game, it's a smart way to do it. Like, go do all your shopping during the game, because you're not going to run into anybody on the roads.
Yeah, we do see, going back to kind of like the complimenting. Different businesses where we obviously are a little bit seasonal. Like the fitness industry is just generally seasonal. It's typically pretty busy in the beginning of the year, in the spring, not so busy in the summer. Fall can be kind of hit or miss. We've made jokes about opening up a fast food restaurant to complement, something unhealthy to complement the healthy. But we've at least noticed a little bit of compliments with having locations in different areas, like especially with like one in Norman where, kids from Edmond go down to school, during the semester. And so Norman might be a little busier. And then during summer, our Quail Springs location might be a little busier because they're back at home, So it's helped there's even kind of some randomness to it a little bit of like when we just had one location, it was, we would, have to be kind of at the mercy of like busier, slow days or busier, slow times, where it's when we opened up Norman, it was just random days. It's like, okay, Quail Springs is really busy, but Norman's not doing so well. And the next day it's like Quail Springs is not doing so well, but Norman's doing really well. So just kind of helps level it out a little bit.
I mean, we found that if Cafe 7 and Dados especially, but if the kids are out of school, we'll be busy. That's like a guarantee. We'll be busy all lunch. Then that's like whenever we were talking about ice days.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it when school is canceled because we know lunch is going to be so busy.
Well, especially around here where they cancel school and it just rains.
Yes.
It's like the snow doesn't even come, the ice doesn't even come. And then it's just like, well, it's muddy out, so school's already canceled. So
is there a particular reason why you think why it is busier when kids are out of school for you guys?
I mean, because they're not eating at home, so they need somewhere to go and eat. Parents are taking their kids out to eat.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where if they're just eating themselves, they can maybe prep something and just eat
right,
kind of
right, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
With your guys' with the Cafe 7 being in Quail Springs and having all the office parks or the whole office park kind of behind us, was that intentional with opening that location?
Yeah, well, so before, yes, it was. And you know how AAA used to be back behind us in that big glass building?
Yeah.
So AAA, that building was just being built whenever we opened up. The big glass building behind us that was Gulfport Energy.
Oh, yes. Now Integris?
Yes. That used to not be there.
I remember that.
And we used to we used to bring our golf bags and we used to hit golf balls out in the field behind it. But I mean,
can't do that anymore.
But yeah, I mean, that location, we knew there was going to be a bunch of lunch business, and that was one of the reasons we did that.
Gotcha. So, do you have a background in food or restaurants at all? Or
I mean, not really. Like I started waiting tables when I was 18.
Yeah.
Or started washing dishes when I was 16.
Okay.
And then got to college. I was in the College of Business at OSU. Things weren't going good my first 3 years. My senior year, I got a letter. My business partner Jay and we got letters that we were getting kicked out of school the next semester if we didn't get our grades up. And he said, let's join the hotel restaurant program. It's supposed to be pretty easy. And then we were on the Dean's Honor Roll the next semester. So, I mean,
yeah. Was it a matter of like you just found something that you really liked?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, but I liked, I liked the cooking. I liked home ec and junior high and high school. I mean, I thought that was fun cooking, and I always liked cooking. And I never thought that, hey, this is going to translate to a career. Mm-hmm. I just, didn't put it together. Like, I don't want to be a restaurant manager. I don't want to be a waiter my whole life. It just didn't sound appealing to me. And then once I got into that program, it just kind of opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Like you can do this and this and this. So
gotcha. Yeah. Saw the opportunities a little bit more.
Yes.
You said you started by just washing dishes. Where did you start with just washing dishes?
El Chico.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had some experience kind of.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We got my first job waiting tables at El Chico, and I sucked at waiting tables. I made the lowest money out of everybody there because I was so horrible at it. And, that was why I didn't think I had any future in restaurants.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's funny. So whenever, because I know you guys have so do you do a decent amount of the cooking or menu development or anything now?
Pretty much all the menus have already been developed but I will help execute. I'd say probably 25% of the cooking for catering. Nice. But we do have a chef there, and he takes care of most everything. And then I'll just jump in and help him out, if we have a bigger event. But I'm really not the food person. I'm really not the recipe person.
Yeah.
I'm more of I'm paying the bills to keep the doors open. I will keep track of all the accounts payables and, report all our numbers to our accountant that need to be reported every month. So I'm like a behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
And Jay, my business partner, he is more the out front guy. He's in the Oklahoma Restaurant Association board, and he likes to be around the people.
Yeah.
Being around the people is really not my thing.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun thing though, when the new specials menu come out, you at least get to try them.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be a fun day.
Yeah. Especially when the desserts come in.
There we go. Man, those big ball cookies, I can't, they're a problem for me. They are a problem. They're so good.
Yeah. You said you've known Jay since college?
Yeah, I've known since college. I met him. I was a sophomore. He was a freshman. So we've known each other for almost 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Honestly, I should have thought we should have had you guys both on here. That would have been fun.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to do another one when you guys open your next restaurant.
All right.
We'll have you and Jay on.
All right. That sounds good. I mean, we got a project in the pipe that's it's kind of working. It's going to be a sports bar.
Ooh,
called Bush League.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, think like Bushwood Country Club vibes, golf bays.
Now we're talking.
I'm in.
Too.
Yeah. There's a new dart technology out where it tracks the dart real time through the air on a TV.
Whoa.
There'll be shuffleboard. There'll be golden tee. There'll be a section of TVs with live betting odds because it's only a matter of time before sports gambling is legalized. And there'll be a sports ticker going around with live scores and news and but that will go in North Park next to Hamilton on the north side. So we're just working on some funding right now.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now we're talking some golf bays.
A place like that, man. I'm trying to. There was a bar that we went to. It was in Atlanta that was very similar. I couldn't tell you the name of it because we were at a few bars before this one. But man, I could have spent. We did spend hours and hours there, man, playing shuffleboard and playing pool and just it's stuff like that, man. Like I can spend a lot more time there, like because there's a lot of stuff to do. So
and Cool Springs needs a good sports bar. I mean,
there's
Twin Peaks and there's Chalk, but we're kind of going for something a little more family friendly, with some games to do to keep people busy, and then really great food.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's really cool. It probably gives you a little bit more confidence going into North Park with as well as Hamilton's done too.
I'm sure. Yeah, most definitely. And like it doesn't, it helps that like rent's fairly cheap there.
Yeah. Helps that they have some vacancies.
Yes. Yeah. Rent is very affordable there. We like that.
That's awesome.
I feel like there's kind of I guess I should ask before I assume, but was there, with going into North Park with Hamilton, was there any like catering to the spot itself? Because I feel like it has very much of like this backdoor, like almost kind of secret but really cool kind of restaurant, man.
Well, that gate that's outside of Hamilton with the H on it, that gate was already there. So we're like, we need to come up with some H names.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just, whenever you walk into the space, it's kind of perfect because there's no windows. It's real intimate.
For sure.
And, designed right, it could be something really special. And that's kind of what we tried to do.
That's funny that the Hamilton came from just an H on the gate.
Yep.
That's how it goes, though, I feel like, Yeah, that's cool.
Were you guys, I guess you should ask, because you kind of mentioned earlier about the bagel space and the space getting rented before you guys could go in there. Do you guys find a space alongside a concept, or does the space come before the concept, or is the concept like good and you just have to find the space? Or
I mean, it's kind of, it can go either way. I mean, because the Hamilton, it turned into something completely different than what we thought it was going to be.
What did you think it was going to be?
We thought we were just going to do be really, really dark in there, have like 2 steaks that you serve and a chicken maybe and a fish. And that's all we were going to serve. Mm-hmm. And have you ever been to Bull in the Alley in Tulsa?
I haven't, no.
So you'll have to look that up. But we were kind of going for like a Bull in the Alley-ish type vibe. And it turned into something completely different. And quite honestly, I mean, that was like the best thing to happen to us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I'll have to go now to kind of just compare to see what it was supposed to be in the first place. Yeah, that's interesting. It was Cafe 7 was supposed to be which.
Right.
And
well, it's funny. Like, I feel like that's, those kind of things where you're hopeful for something that it's going to be something and it turns into something totally different and it ended up being the best is like, it's always such a nice thing. I know for us, like I'm sure our viewers, we've talked about this before, but that Triad originally was supposed to be a franchise of Supplement Superstores, company that Kevin and I used to work for. And Supplement Superstores is great, but now in retrospect, like, I know we're happy it worked out the way that it did, where essentially it didn't work out, where it didn't work out in being a franchise. And now we're sitting here like, man, like, as much as we think Supplement Superstores is great, part of the reasons why we were wanting to do something different was because we wanted to do something different and something on our own. And kind of like we had, Kevin you had your own ideas and Chad and Vincent had your own ideas of like what it could do to be better. And it's like, well, we kind of then have our hands tied a little bit because you can't always make those decisions that way. We can't just decide one day, hey, we're going to completely change some structure of something because we have to answer, to a corporate. And so it is funny how that works, where it's like, you're really hopeful for something. And I know you guys were really hopeful for it to be that. And then it not being ended up being the blessing in disguise at the moment.
Yeah. And I think to like, kudos to you, man, for being flexible on, finding, making the restaurant actually fit the space that you guys are going in. Cause I know that was like a big thing for us. Honestly, a big learning curve in general was, when we transitioned from it being a franchise to our own thing, there was, all this stuff we wanted to change. A lot of the core principles were the same, but a lot we wanted to change. 50% of that worked out really, really well. 50% of it, we learned why it was done the way it was done. So we transitioned back to the old way that we were doing it. But we also had to be quite a bit flexible as we progressed forward as well, where we kind of had to take certain avenues of hey, we're putting all this effort into all these different areas to help us to grow, and we're growing in not a lot of them, but we're growing really well in this one particular area. It's like, okay, well, like let's leverage that. Let's put a lot of effort into that. Let's figure out how we can do even better in that area if we're gaining some traction. So, like I know a big one for us was this was a couple years in, but and I think this kind of goes along with some industry changes. But we were our core principle is having good quality products that we really like to recommend, and we sample them out so people can become familiar, even if they don't know the name of the brand or the product super well. But we just only had a certain amount of people coming in. So, but we noticed on some of these other popular brands that weren't really ones that we really wanted to lean on a whole lot for, like, to recommend, but they were like, okay, we're bringing people in, and it gave us the opportunity to talk to them. And sometimes we could transition them into a product that was even better for them. So we really started to lean more into that of, hey, what if we just had everything that was popular, and we just really blew up our inventory? Like, even if it's like this is a weird thing for a lot of our newer employees to learn, is like, we bring in like products that are not good quality at all, because people are looking to purchase them somewhere, and if they can come in, that at least gives us the opportunity to transition to them something that would be much more beneficial for them. So yeah, just kind of, that's just one example of kind of being flexible and kind of learning on the go and changing as the business developed. So
do you guys have any problems like staffing your stores? Like, where do you guys find your employees? I mean, because I feel it's such a specialized job, and you have to have so much knowledge of that I mean, how do you guys staff your stores and, find your people?
If you have any recommendations, please let us know. We'll take them.
Being specialized, it's honestly almost all of our employees were customers to begin with. So people that were interested in supplements in the first place.
Learn to appreciate Triad, what we did, how we did things.
A big part of it, though, is that we don't actually require any particular knowledge prior. We just our training is just not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun at all.
Yeah. It is
unless you want to work here, then it's a blast.
No, it is. Yeah, it's definitely it's not rigorous for everyone. Yeah. It's definitely not for everybody.
Right.
It's one that it's about a month of training. Most of it is centered around the in-house test that you have to take that not everybody passes. It is anywhere between, it takes about 6 to 12 hours to take.
No, it's long. We're probably, I think we haven't had a 6 in a while. It's more like,
I guess
9.
I say 6, but those people probably are the ones that didn't pass.
Yeah, it's more like 9 to 12 hours.
9 to 12 hours.
9 to 12 is pretty common.
But it's
handwritten.
Handwritten.
Yeah. You have to pass it to take a customer. Before you can take a customer, you have to pass it before you get your polo.
And it is just legitimately every ingredient that will ever be asked about ever in the store.
Yeah.
You gotta
categories.
You gotta tell us everything there is to know about it. And if you miss some things, you get docked for it. So
oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, hey, what cheese is on the ham sandwich? You're hired.
Yeah. Yeah. It's but yeah, I mean, but that's why I think it's important for us to, like, we have to have people who want to work at Triad.
Yeah.
Not necessarily they want to work in the supplement industry or they want to work for a store or they're just looking for a summer job. Like, we get people all the time like, hey, I want to work for the summer. And we're like, we couldn't even get you trained. You know what I mean? Like, you really, like, it takes, honestly, it takes, what would you say, for an employee to, like, really hit their stride, 9 months to a year?
Yeah, I'd say about a year. Some people might be able to hit 6 to 9 months, but honestly, I don't even know if I've seen that in years. So
yeah, it's about a year for them to really be like, they've got it all figured out. Kind of, well, they got a good grasp on everything. So,
I mean, every time I've been in and I've asked a question, it's like, bam, they have the answer, and I'm like, holy crap, how do you guys do this?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're confident, and I'm like, they could sell me something that I probably didn't even need, but they're so confident when explaining, I'd be like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And ask them about their carpal tunnel, though. So
yeah, that's like, Yeah, it's a day.
So I'm actually curious about you guys hiring. I actually heard a rumor before we ever opened up that location. I actually heard a rumor. I'm gonna share it first to see how true it is. It was our commercial real estate agent. He was touring us around the city because we're from Missouri.
Okay.
And we stopped in that shopping center when it still had the Tom's formal wear sign up top, and we're looking in, and where he's talking about the other businesses in the center, and he started talking about Cafe 7, and he was really hyping you guys up a lot, and he talked about how you guys have very affordable food, so it's great for lunch options, but it's still very high quality and cooked very well. And the rumor was that you guys, hopefully I'm not sharing any secrets here, so we can cut this if we need to, is that you were really hiring a lot of people that were fresh out of culinary arts school and bringing them on as kind of their first job. So they had a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of experience. So it was kind of a starter job for a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so Platt College used to be, just right around the corner.
Right.
And so, that's where we found a handful. I mean, I'd say there's probably a handful of the employees that were students there. They came over and they were part of the first wave of staff, that we had hired. And actually, one of the original employees that we had, Stephanie Miller, she is the executive chef at the Hamilton now.
Oh,
and
nice.
partner. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. Oh, very cool.
So she's been with us since the very beginning.
That's awesome. That's cool that she worked her way into partner too, that you guys created a scenario where that was possible for her.
Absolutely.
That's super cool. So I'm really glad that rumor's true, because I've shared that a couple of times. And I was like, that's so smart too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we don't do it so much anymore, but I mean, we really don't have a problem with hiring anymore, because our morning crew, 10 of them, 11 of them, they've been with us 13, 14 years.
Really?
It's just our nighttime employees. It's a lot of high school kids that go off to college.
Yeah.
So that's where most of our turnover comes from. But as far as morning, we have zero problem staffing mornings.
Yeah.
That's great. That's 13, 14 years. What's the usual turnover for a restaurant?
Oh, it's like 300% a year.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And we might turn over one lunch person a year. Like out of the 12 that we have on staff, we might turn over one.
Gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's a testament to you treating them well too.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they wouldn't be there if you guys weren't doing it right.
And I'm sure that's a huge weight off of your shoulders to not have a bunch of brand new people around too, because I know that's, especially as we're hiring new people, and I see on the schedule it's 2 people that have been around for less than 6 months together, and it's like, if something goes wrong, I'm gonna be real nervous.
And training costs a lot of money. Training is a lot of money. People don't realize it. You can just go out and find somebody. No, you can't. I mean, it's going to cost me $1,000 to get them trained at least. In your guys' case, probably even more.
Yeah, because they're not taking a customer for the full first month. Yeah. So, is there anything in particular that you guys have done to keep those people?
I mean, we treat them like family. I mean, I've bailed some of these guys out of jail before.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody's car breaks down and they need some extra cash to get through till payday, I'm like, I'll reach into my pocket and I'll give them what I have, and that way their car gets fixed so they can make it to work. I mean, a lot of these guys. I mean, we've been in their we're in their weddings.
Right.
They have their we're at their quinceañeras. I mean, we're like a family. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's super cool, man.
Yeah.
That's nothing, no special tricks or anything. Just being
treat
there
them
for
right.
them.
I mean, it's not like we're profit. I mean, profit's nice, but I mean, we don't do it at the expense of, to where it's detrimental to our staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's such a big part. Yeah. No, and that's one of the things, same thing for us. Our turnover's so little, our hiring is always just growth based, which is good, but it's like Kevin was saying earlier, we don't require knowledge, but it's what I have to have somebody who's at least hungry for it and wants to learn, wants to be a part of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and then can also treat everybody that comes in like it's their grandma. And it's like that's not always easy to find whenever you're looking for people. So
got to hire on character.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's
character and teach,
especially like this day and age. Like I feel like some of the kids that walk in, they just like want it handed to them, and they don't want to work for it, and it's just. Doesn't work like that, guys.
Yeah, no, for real. It's tough. Well, now you're seeing, like, man, and I get it, the cost of everything and how expensive it is to live anymore. Like people are, rightfully and understandably, expecting more and more money. And it's crazy. And I get it. I know it's like every year we make more money and it's harder and harder to live, but it's it's nuts when it's like, you got to be paying people a decent amount of money, even at entry level stuff, or it's like, it's next to impossible to keep people. Understandable.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know why they have the minimum wage, why it's so low now, because they could still raise that to $10 an hour and my staff would still be making more than that.
Yeah. Right.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's just crazy. Cause it's like, and you start looking and it's like you can $15, $20 an hour. And it's like, man, I could pay somebody $20 an hour to, like check people out at a supplement store. Like we gotta, it's tough because you got to realize like, man, if we would have tried to start, this business now, as opposed to 9 years ago with the cost of everything and what you have to pay people. And I'm not saying it's not fair. I'm saying that like they need it to live too. Like the cost of living has gotten so much more expensive, especially in Oklahoma. I mean, dude, how much did we pay in rent at the house that we were living at? Like, dude, I paid $340 a month.
Yeah. I think it was like, at least when we first moved in, it was like $1,400 a month for, in total for, I can't remember what the square footage was on that place. But
it was a pretty big house. And it's like, dude, when I moved to Yukon, it was like, dude, the rent at that house was like $2,000 a month. It's like, this is crazy. And now it's like, now in Oklahoma City, like to find an apartment that's worth living in for less than $1,000 a month, like, good luck.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed.
Yeah, hard pressed to find. It's like gas and groceries and everything. Like it's nuts, man. You've seen like those people post the thing where it's like their Walmart order from this year and that exact same Walmart order from like last year, and how it's gone up, but it's like literally doubled. And it's like,
I'm no economics major, but I mean, like it's, from at least from my perspective, like it's all kind of cyclical of we've got, our employees that, to just afford to be able to live and live comfortably, like I got to pay them more and more and more. Yeah. It's like, well, like if, hopefully we're bringing in more people but if we're not, it's like, well, then we got to bump our prices on things. And then that just changes the cost of living for everybody else. Yeah, and we're just playing into, just a cyclical thing.
And I know the restaurant industry was like one of the ones that got hit the hardest. I remember we have a buddy who's worked in the restaurant industry for a long time and has helped start and be a part of a lot of different restaurants all over the place. And he's talking about, the cost of a container of black pepper is, or frying oil or whatever is just like, used to be able, and I'm making numbers up, he's like, used to be able to buy a jug of frying oil for $7 and that same jug now is $20 or something. It's like, this is madness. Like,
did prices of food get pretty volatile post COVID?
Oh, it was crazy. Like for instance, our the chicken we buy, the chicken we buy used to be pre-COVID, and I'm talking like right before COVID, was $44 a case. Post-COVID, $160.
Holy shit!
Some weeks it was up to $180.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, like the fryer oil that you're talking about. Yeah. A 5-gallon jug of frying oil used to be $23. It's now $42 now. I think. I mean, cheddar cheese, it was up 35%. I mean, everything's up so much. And like it really hurt us the most because like chicken is like the main protein we serve. I mean, it is like 99% of the protein we serve. So I mean, we took a haircut.
Yeah. Something goes from $44 to $160.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy.
I think our biggest ones were whey protein almost doubled.
Yeah, creatine.
And creatine went up by quite a bit.
Creatine. We used to sell creatine. There was a point where we were selling 100 servings, first form creatine, which is 100 servings. We used to sell for $18. Mm-hmm. We sell for $18, and I think at the height of everything, it was $60.
Was it 60?
I think I got to 60 at one point.
I can't even remember, honestly.
I think I got to 60 at one point.
Has there been ups and downs to it at all, or is it just...
Yeah, it's been... there's ups and downs, but it's still... right now, it's kind of settled into a little over double. So we're like right around 85, 90 for that same case of chicken. And that goes for like most everything across the board. Especially like paper towels and to-go boxes. I mean, it's like the stuff that like... people don't think costs a lot of money. Like you go to the bathroom and like use a paper towel. I mean, that paper towel you're using is costing me double now for you to dry your hands.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You put a sign on it, just use one, please.
Yeah, I know.
If we could cut down on half the amount used.
Well, it's just so crazy. Not to get too, into the political side of it or anything, but it's just like the restaurant industry got so screwed. Like, it's craziness. Like, it's like, hey, you're closed. We're going to close you. You can only do to-go orders, or you got to shut down completely. Yeah. And then, okay, you want to open back up? Well, guess what? Everything's fucking 3 to 4 times as expensive. Yeah. Like, it's like, what? This is a racket. Like, what's happening right now?
And you need like 6 feet between you and the next table.
Yeah.
Which was like... come on, guys.
Yeah, like let's drastically decrease the amount of people that can come in. Let's make it, not only have we starved you of any money that you could have been making, well, now everything's more expensive. It's like, this is like the literal recipe. Like if I was trying to close all of the restaurants nationwide, this would be the exact thing I would throw out.
Yeah. Was there any particular strategy with prices when you finally were open, the prices going up? Was there any strategy with because obviously if chicken is 3 to 4 times as much,
you can't sell the same price.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, we did a percentage increase on everything across the board. Just depending on what the ingredients, some was 10%, some was 20%.
Yeah.
There was, I think the first year after COVID, we had to do 2 price increases in the same year, which we had never done before.
Right.
Just to keep up with everything. And then it's finally settled back down. But like I said, it's still minimum 30 to 50, sometimes twice as much what it cost pre-COVID.
Yeah, we've noticed with creatine protein is about the same. Like it's settled to be about double what it was.
Right.
Protein was an interesting one. We saw it come back down to almost to pre-COVID pricing for maybe about a year, but it's back up to about double again. So creatine got to 3 or 4 times as much, but then came back to about double.
Well, you just think first form, a Formula 1 in ignition when we were at S2 was $67.50. It's, I think with tax now, I want to say it's $95.
Yeah, dude. I don't think you're wrong. Here's another one. I won't name the brand. But there is.
Apparently, I will.
I don't think you know about it. But no, this is yours wasn't bad. But this one is it could be taken in a bad way, even though it's circumstantial or circumstantial. I should chill.
You need to just get. You need.
I'm gonna use small words.
Yeah, you need to go a couple grades
back. There is a lot of protein powders come in 2-pound tubs of protein, or in 2-pound tubs, and obviously 2-pound tubs have increased in price quite a bit. There is a company that used to sell a tub of protein, 2-pound tub of protein for $45. That is releasing a 1-pound tub of protein for $40 soon. So it's just kind of an interesting.
A 1 pound tub of protein for $40.
I'll just eat my hard boiled eggs and yogurt.
Yeah, but for real.
No chicken though, because that's expensive.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez. One thing I've always been kind of curious about, especially you kind of being the back end numbers guy. I know I was complaining recently to a gym owner that where they get to buy gym equipment and it lasts as potentially forever because it's made out of steel and iron and all. Yeah. Where we're buying, protein powders and pre-workouts and whatnot. It's like all of what we're buying expires within 2 years or less. And it's just like, that's just not fair. Your stuff lasts forever. And then I realized I probably shouldn't complain because I thought about the restaurant industry of how quickly and how, like, what does that even look like, man, for like making sure that you have enough, but you don't overstock?
It is just, because like, let's say the case of chicken we get in.
Yeah.
Once we put it in the walk-in, it's got probably a 5-day shelf life where it needs to be, probably less than that, probably 4 where it needs to be cut and cooked and chilled for service. But we've been doing this so long that we have we have a par sheet for everything. So it's like, we will go through this much. We will go through this much, and so we just kind of, it's down pretty good to where we have minimal to zero waste on anything that comes in the door. But I can't imagine like if you were like a seafood restaurant that serves fish, because that is perishable in like 2-3 days max. Once it's if you get it frozen, you thaw it out and whatever, but 2 or 3 days max and it's gone bad. So if you have a bad week and you're not busy, you you're running a seafood special the next night.
It's not just us, like we're not busy. It's like, oh, we weren't busy. It's not like everything on the shelf expires.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We got to be not busy for like 2 years for that to be. So, we got bigger problems.
After we cut our deli meat and portion it, 2 days. We keep it 2 days.
Okay.
Health department says you can keep it 5 days. We keep it 2 days. We have a higher standard than that.
Yeah, right.
What's a par sheet?
So a par sheet, let's just say from you do an order on Monday, and it says, all right, you need to have at least 5 cases of chicken on hand. You look in the walk-in, there's 1 case. You need to order 4 more to get to your 5. So we have
gotcha.
So we have a par sheet for everything.
Gotcha. Okay. So we work off, like, I guess I'm used to calling it like par quantity. Okay. So we do is that something like have you guys built that, or is that part of your POS system?
We've built it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Because like we just use like a shitty old cash register at Cafe 7. We don't have like a POS system. We're still rolling the ancient way there.
Good for you guys.
Yeah,
we do. We use Revel, which is actually, funny enough, it's built more primarily for restaurants.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It does really well for us, honestly. Yeah. So we set like certain. I guess I'm used to calling it more like thresholds of like, hey, if we, you set the threshold at whatever you think it is. It does even like forecasting and stuff. That's beyond my understanding for sure. Right. But so you set thresholds for everything. If it gets below this quantity, it generates an order from this vendor, and so we're probably. I would guess we're probably dealing with a little bit more variety though. So
you guys have a few hundred more SKUs than we do.
We got a couple, and forever growing.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
what's your guys' take on seed oils?
Seed oils?
Have you guys gotten caught up in that whole? I kind of got caught up into it, so I don't even cook with seed oils anymore. Yeah. I do avocado oil and I do extra virgin olive oil. I try not to eat anything that's enriched, so it's all organic, unbleached flour. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I make a bread, it's impossible to eat out and not.
Yeah.
not do it, but
I haven't researched it enough to definitely confidently speak like about the science behind it. But I will say I have recently switched to avocado oil as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that was a big thing. Like I I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I haven't done enough research. I know there's plenty of people that like there's nothing wrong with it, and I keep hearing there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing that like always caught me up and like was like, oh, okay, wait, that's kind of weird. Was like one serving, and I don't know, this could be a totally made up stat that I read on something that somebody was making up. But anyway, I'll say it. But it was like one serving of like seed oils, like vegetable oil or whatever, is in one serving is more than you would naturally ingest in your entire lifetime.
I've heard that.
One serving is more than you would like, because you're not eating seeds of things all the time.
juice and seeds.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Do that one more time.
How would you juice a seed?
Hey, what you do in your free time for you to do in your free time, but like it's like it's like you don't eat that stuff. You don't eat not a lot of vegetables have high fat content. You know what I mean? It's like where's this oil coming from? And so it's like a lot of it comes from the seeds, and it's like you'd very rarely ever eat that. So it's like one serving is literally like more than a lifetime's worth that you would normally get.
I mean, because it's like the way they process it, because they need to process it, and it has to undergo a chemical reaction and be mixed with, like, I think copper with there's 3 metals that it can be mixed with to create that whatever was
it canola oil like originally like a mechanical lubricant?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It was like made to lubricate machinery.
Yeah. And they were like, people can have this.
Right.
Feed it to your children.
It's again, I have not done enough research, so like I could easily like if I did some, I could definitely come out the other end of like seed oils are just fine. So I definitely can't speak confidently. But the thing that got me was, I think I saw a video of someone doing like it might have been avocado oil and some kind of like canola oil, and like how the bugs reacted to it. Like all the bugs went to the avocado oil, like got a bunch of gnats in it, and the canola oil had like nothing, like no bugs wanted to touch it at all.
Yeah.
And I was like,
we need to do some research, and on the next podcast,
right.
Seed oils,
right.
Seed oils.
Yeah, because it's a big thing. You know, I'm sure it's like, again, it's just stuff that, you know, if I'm having a serving of this is allegedly, you know, more than I would ingest in my entire lifetime. Well, then if I eat out twice today, you know, like how many if I eat out 3 times in a week, like, and I do that every week, it's like, well, now we're like, okay, how many times over have I like ingested a lifetime's worth? Like at this point, I've probably eaten 1,000 plus servings of seed oils. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I've cleaned my diet up pretty well to, you know, cut out seed oils the best I can, and then also cut out folic acid, enriched bread products, and I've been doing that for probably 3 months, and I feel, I mean, physically, like my gut health, it feels so much better now that all that stuff's been kind of been cut out. But yeah. So I have noticed a little bit of a difference. I don't know if that's just because I'm also eating healthier too, because I am. But
sure.
You know, I got to give a little bit of credit to kind of staying away from that stuff.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, that is always the kind of the catch-22 is like, I'm eating better. So I think it could be one of the two. Like I remember we had, and this is nothing against people who are like vegetarian or vegan, but they were like, I had a customer, this might have been at Supplement Superstores, and they were like, I've never felt better than when I went vegan. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You know, like, what do you think it is? And they're like, I don't know. I think it's just not having meat. Like I feel so much better. And I'm like, well, what were you eating before? And they're like, well, I got Taco Bell or McDonald's usually like 1 to 2 times a day. And I'm like, yeah, no wonder you feel better. No, it's a mystery. I think it was the meat.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely the meat that's making you sick.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, okay. Right.
I think there is something to legitimately just kind of going off of what the body is generally used to as well, though. I know that was kind of in the inverse way of when CBD oil became a really big thing. Like the reasoning of the big the science behind it essentially was that the general science essentially was that the human body was very used to having hemp in our diet, and that when it became illegal and it was, pulled just generally from our diet, there was like an absence. So,
we went thousands of years with it. Now we're going,
we've adapted to having
100 years
it
without it.
Exactly. That there was almost like this void. So it was like when CBD became obviously a really big thing, it was like, obviously marketed and it was like, kind of a miracle, like cure all kind of deal. And it was like, well, there is actually a little bit of validity to it because it's potentially just filling like a void.
A logical pathway of like why that makes sense.
Right. And I think, kind of for seed oils is like, if we're not used to having it, like, again, I don't know the science, but if legitimately the human body's not used to having it, it's probably not going to cause, like, it's probably not going to be the best, or at least not good for us.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. I don't know about bad, but.
Yeah. Super interesting, though. Yeah, that has been a big one that I feel like I hear more and more about. And honestly, I just haven't put enough time into it, into like looking into it.
Thinking about it more, I think I would probably milk my seeds like this, though. Small.
That was one big seed you had earlier, Kevin. You gripped it real, the big seed.
I'm thinking,
yeah. Sesame seeds.
Oh, yeah. No, perfect.
We haven't even had any drinks tonight.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's interesting, too, because, I think with the way that, food has gotten in, obviously not any of your restaurants, but you're seeing the things where like people have like the McDonald's or whatever that's 15 years old that doesn't rot or like go bad. And it's like, this is crazy. Or like, like that's like how in the world? Or like one of the things I always try to explain to people, especially when they come in, is like, it is literally astonishing how calorically dense some fast food is. Like, I don't understand what they are doing to make it this calorically dense. Because it's like, I can easily make a close to a full meal, depending on what I'm doing, a full meal to like close to a full meal that is like 600 calories, 650 calories. I can fill a plate with 650 calories, right? Like, I can fill a full plate. You know how many calories are in like one Taco Bell quesadilla? That like paper thin 3 chunks of meat quesadilla?
Oh, I could eat like 6 of those.
Easily, right? It's like 480 calories in one of those quesadillas. Or a McChicken is like 510. And it's like, I remember when I was in college, I could slam like 5 McChickens. So it's like, how in the world? Because I remember a customer came in and they were talking, they had previously, they'd lost like, put it this way, they'd lost like 200 pounds, right? And he was talking about his McDonald's order, and it was like a McDouble, or like 2 McDoubles, 2 McChickens, and like a medium or large fry, and then like a Diet Coke, right? Or a Coke or whatever.
Diet Coke makes it all better.
That's right. I think he did get a Diet Coke. And I remember being like, I'm like, my college days, I have eaten that exact meal.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hands down, I have. And we looked it up, and it was like 3,000 calories on the dot. And I'm like, that is crazy. Like, and I'm not even talking like a plate full of like a salad. You know what I mean? Like, I could make like 600, because that was the thing I always, like, one of my advice that I give to people in the store and give on the podcast too, is like, if you're having a really intense craving, go somewhere good that makes quality food, or make it at home. I can't make a 3,000.
That's what I was going to say.
No way.
Yeah.
Like it's like when you go out to a fast food restaurant, Kevin, back when you used to do that, just kidding, I know you still do.
I saw that Chick-fil-A box.
Yeah, right. But it's like, you and I used to be what used to be the dollar menu. We used to
partake. We used to dabble.
We used to dabble in that pretty heavily. Yeah. How many burgers could you eat off of, like, could you eat?
It was, regularly was like 4.
Right. When you make burgers at home, how many do you eat?
2.
Yeah, it's not 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not 4 by a long shot.
Yeah.
And guess what? When I make a fully loaded, like a burger with like stuff I want on it, it's a good sized burger. That thing's probably 550 calories. You know what I mean? Like, I can make, but I'm not even eating 4 of them because they're not this tiny little like paper thin thing. So it's like, my advice was always like, that I give people is like, if you are really craving something, like it's really gonna like, you're going to maybe spiral if you don't give in to some kind of craving is like go somewhere that makes quality food or just make it at home. You can't make it as bad as a fast food restaurant would make it. You literally cannot do it.
How hard it would be to eat even just 3,000 calories from, like, if you were just doing all
how hard would it be eat 3,000 calories at Cafe 7?
Yeah.
It would be tough.
I was gonna ask, especially
You'd be
with
hard-pressed.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna have you guys been health conscious much at all? Because like obviously Cafe 7's very like generally like quality foods, and I think just
That
because
fajita bowl.
it's quality foods, it is generally very healthy. Has there been any, especially with you eating healthier now, has there been any tweaks or more consciousness towards that at all? Or
They're definitely now. So I mean, I would always eat, at least 3 or 4 meals at home, and then like at night, because at work I'm eating, I'm making scrambled eggs and cottage cheese, and, some chicken, and then Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I just go ham and I eat whatever I want.
Yeah, right.
But then I did like a 72-hour water fast, and then that kind of like reset me to not have any cravings, and now I still eat out 3 to 4 times a week, but I'm very I make it healthy. I do healthier choices.
Yeah.
And now when we cook at home, it's a protein, a veggie, and a salad every single night.
Yeah.
And I mean it's been great. Like
Yeah.
if I have a craving and I want like a cookie or a piece of cake or some ice cream, I'm gonna have it.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna like deny myself that pleasure.
Yeah,
because and because
you work in food, man.
Yeah, and that's not healthy to do.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's all about like lately making healthier choices,
Right.
and not punishing yourself for the food that by the stuff that you're craving. So it's okay to have that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people have transitioned over, like, like for me, like I haven't personally had too much of an issue with this, but like I'll do like cheat meals throughout the week. I know a lot of people have transitioned those to calling them treat meals, just to like help kind of transition. Obviously, they're not changing anything about the food itself, but just transitioning how they think about it. Of like, it's like, hey, this is like I'll get to treat myself from time to time, as opposed to it being like I'm cheating on my diet. This is a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like cheat weekends. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm good during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man, that's like my time to. It's my time to shine.
Right. Well, that's it. Because it's like, again, like I'd be like, man, if you're craving Taco Bell, go to Chipotle. Right.
Yeah.
We're talking. I always say like red, yellow, green, where it's like, a green is you having your food at home like you're supposed to have. Red is going to be that 3,000 calorie meal through that fast food drive-through. That's probably not the best. There is a bunch of yellows that exist. Like you can go and have a pretty darn good meal that will probably scratch that itch for you. You're going to be good. You're not going to feel like junk the next day. You're not going to be all lethargic the rest of the day. Like you can do all those things, and go to Qdoba, go to Cafe 7. That's what I do whenever I
was gonna say, you got plug, man.
Dude, whenever I'm at Quail, I'm be like, guess I'm having Cafe 7 today. Looks like I'm gonna come back with a cookie. So, but for real though, it's like there are plenty of options. Because I know for me, where I struggle is like when I'm really hungry and I don't have anything planned, and I'm like, shit, I need to get something. And it's like, and that happens, but it's like just being aware that you can get good food, you can get quality food. And as long as the food is quality, like you're really going to be hard pressed. Like if you could tell this chicken was like cooked not in a lab, like this ground beef wasn't made in a lab somewhere.
There's no bubbles in your
this was made by a human being that you could probably talk to if you wanted to. Like you're not gonna hit that, because again, like the fact that a Taco Bell quesadilla has almost 500 calories and a single one of them is, or like what is it, like a packet of Chick-fil-A sauce. Like Chick-fil-A sauce itself,
I don't know if I want to know this one.
I think a packet of Chick-fil-A sauce has something like 20 grams of fat in it.
And it's like 230 calories or something like that.
What?
I want to say it's like a couple hundred calories in that thing.
It's great. A packet of like just one of those little dipping things, I want to say is like over 10 grams of fat.
Oh my god.
We could be wrong. Look it up. We'll have to look it up.
I'm just gonna assume that's wrong.
It's and I love Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh, it's so good.
Chick-fil-A
dude.
sauce is the best.
Oh my gosh, that's
one
crazy.
packet per fry.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about as he's looking this up. You talked about like not denying yourself those pleasures, man. It's like, dude, you own restaurants too, man. It's like, dude, if you like, I feel like just for you like it would be weird to work in that industry and not be enjoying the food that's around.
Like I have to try the food. I have to try the food. I have to try it. I try the sauces.
Yeah.
Like all of our sauces, like tomato sauce, the Alfredo sauce. It's made from scratch. So it's not like we're not getting that stuff frozen in a bag or like we are making that from scratch. The chicken's getting cooked off fresh every day. Like pretty much like the only stuff that is processed. I mean, it's like the bread. We don't bake that. We don't make that. And then, the cured meat, the pepperoni, the sausage. We don't make that. But I mean, it's pretty much like everything else. Everything else we make, all the veggies we hand cut the veggies every single morning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's and I gotta assume, man, like obviously having to try, all of the food that you guys are cooking. But you've talked about a number of other restaurants, some here, some in Tulsa. It's like, I feel like there's a little bit of like a culture aspect to that as well. It's like knowing what else is out there. What are other people doing? What are other people cooking? Like what other restaurants kind of look like?
And we bounce ideas off each other all the time, oh, what are you doing as a special this? Well, how are you doing it? We want to run it too. No problem. This is what you got to do. I mean, yeah.
That's awesome, man. And how many people are involved in? I guess there's probably, depending on the restaurant, there's different groups. You probably have a pretty big network. I would assume.
So Cafe 7, it's there's 3 owners. It's me, Jay, and then another gentleman, Paul. Jay and I do run the show there. At Hamilton, it is Stephanie, our chef, Jay, and myself. And then at Dado's, it's Jay and myself. And then at the restaurants in Tulsa, there's they're mixed up between another 8 to 9 people, I think.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, people to just kind of be able to lean on, rely on, bounce ideas off. Do you have the?
Oh yeah, I found it.
Are we going to be like mortified?
It's not great. Keep in mind, this is a little sauce packet, like a little cuppy thing that you get from Chick-fil-A.
Like I'll go through like 4 of those, and Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah,
if I'm going Chick-fil-A, I'm going all in on it. So
okay, I want let's hear how many calories do you think in one of those packets?
220.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 190.
Not as bad. 140.
Okay. All right.
Hey, all right.
That means I can have double.
Yeah. So you're having 140 times 4. So you're having what, close to 600 calories?
Just in sauces.
Oh
my gosh.
Guess how many grams of fat? I was wrong.
Okay.
It wasn't as much as I said.
Hey.
It wasn't as much as I said of the original number.
I'm gonna guess if I'm doing 4, I'm getting 40 grams of fat. So 10 per packet.
It is 13 grams of fat per packet.
God dang.
That's
That's a lot. That's a tiny little cup.
And then guess how many grams of sugar?
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. It's not terrible. But it's for I mean, it's not great for you got to think volume of what you're getting here.
It's not much, dude.
No. I mean, I can hold 7 of those sauces in my hand.
If I really tried, I could put it on 2 Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like 2 fries.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
This is if you get them in the pre-portioned pack. If you got the bottle, you might be in trouble. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna guess 4 grams of sugar.
Gotta guess
6.
6 is correct.
Good guess.
6 grams of sugar.
He works in the restaurant.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, 13 grams of fat, 6 grams of sugar, 140 calories per packet.
Yeah, that
per
ain't much.
thing.
That ain't much.
Oh, I'm like
I mean,
really
if you're gonna get Chick-fil-A, you might as well go all out.
you might as well.
That's
So,
I'm not getting grilled nuggets when I go Chick-fil-A.
yeah.
But man, that's like. But again, it's like That's so insanely like calorically dense. Like I could fill that thing with olive oil and not think that it had 13 grams of fat in it. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
So I used to work for Longhorn Steakhouse before Cafe 7. I worked for them out of college. They had this dessert.
Well, now we're talking.
It was a chocolate like.
If that sounds good, I will order it on the way home.
It's really good. So it's like 2 pieces of like chocolate kind of cake.
Yeah.
And 1 scoop of ice cream, I think. I think it was 2,800 calories.
What?
Yeah. I remember looking at it and being like, what the fuck are we doing to people?
Oh my God.
It was in like the mid to high 2000s for calories.
That's insane.
The fat and the sugar in that, I'm sure, was just
crazy.
That is insane. Well, dude, you start looking at like certain things and it will like blow your mind. Like I remember, because again, I don't even remember the last time I had a regular soda, like a soda heavy, as I like to call them. Like, I don't remember the last time I had a full
20 years, no soda.
Yeah,
Are you really?
Nothing.
Dude, 20
years.
If I have one now, it just like I feel like the sugar just coat my mouth.
Dude, I literally don't. I remember we had a friend over one time, and at our apartment complex, like we have in the basement next to the gym, there's a vending machine, and it's got like sodas in it and stuff. And so every once in a while, you know, like I'll run down there and grab a soda.
Every once in a while.
Hey, now we got a little mini fridge. It's stuck with my Coke Zeros. But I'll go down there and grab like a Coke Zero or Diet Dr. Pepper or something. And like we had a friend over one time, and I was like, you know, hey, like I'm gonna go grab a soda at the vending machine. Like, you know, wife, friend, like, do either of you want one? And Laurel was like, yeah, like I'll take a Coke. And then the friend was like, oh yeah, I'll take a Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm about to walk out the door and I go, wait, do you want a regular Dr. Pepper or do you want a Diet Dr. Pepper? And they were like, oh, regular. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, I don't mean to be judgmental, but I'm like, and it was astonishing to just look at this bottle of regular Dr. Pepper and then just be like, there's 60 grams of sugar in this.
Yeah, that's wild.
60 grams of sugar in this.
Yeah.
How in the world? Like, I would literally crash.
Yeah.
I would literally go hypo, I think, from like drinking a regular soda.
Just a soda.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, or like if you get like a Highland Dairy chocolate milk, like a 16-ounce chocolate milk is like 60, I think it's 68 grams of sugar in it.
Dude, I think Fanta is really up there. I think it was like 80 or 90, 90 grams of sugar.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up some high sugar. So you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm in my research phase.
Seed oils make people do some weird shit.
Yeah. Oh, man. So yeah, you've been continuously eating more and more healthy recently, huh? Yep. That's very cool. Do you still go to Prevail?
Still go to Prevail. I go 4 to 5 days a week. I love it because, well, after hearing what's going on next door, I don't think I could have somebody in a microphone yelling at me the entire workout.
Oh,
that's just not me. I like the small class. I like, you know, doing my own thing.
Yeah. Someone, kind of still like give you what to do, so you don't have to
still some guidance.
Some guidance, but it's everybody likes. You got to figure out what you like the most, man.
Yeah. And a lot of people like that, and that's cool. I mean, at least they're getting a workout in. But
for sure,
I mean, if Sean or Danielle put on a microphone and started like screaming at people, I would just walk out.
I'm just gonna picture for real quick, and for those that have listened, we actually had Sean and Danny on a few episodes ago. So if you watched or saw Sean, I just want everybody to imagine really quick, Sean with a microphone, leading a class that way.
That sounds terrible. Like, absolutely horrible.
No, they run a very, very nice gym, and I've recommended them to a number of people. We've obviously worked with them for years, so we got to know them when they were still over at Red Rock Gym. So,
yeah.
Yeah. But Did you go to their anniversary party over
the
weekend?
Yep, went for like half an hour. Me and my wife, we were doing some stuff beforehand, and we swung by, and then it was. I had to do some work stuff the next day, so we didn't stay for very long. But it was a good party and a good turnout. Lots of kids there, and lots of new merchandise. And
that's what we stopped by as well as it was Riley's bedtime is 7:00, so we were there for all of about 15 minutes. So we were like, she started letting us know she was getting sleepy like on the way there. We're like, we're not going to be able to stay too long. So, but yeah, 10 years, man. It's they do a really good job, man. I definitely highly recommend them to quite a few people. So,
I mean, I've been with them since the original spot at 150th and Western.
Yeah. Dude, their new location, I don't know if I'd actually ever been in their newer location yet, but it looks so cool, man. Like they had the garage door open and everything. So
the setup is great, and the space works really well for them. If they got a bigger space, I mean, they could add a bigger space, and because right now it's capped at 16 people. But I mean, I think it'd be cool if they got it up to 20, and they, because I think it would help them grow a whole lot more. I mean, not that they haven't grown; they've grown tremendously.
Right.
But I mean, it's been fun to see like their transformation, and they went from having to be teaching every single class to having a team that can do it, and they get to take a step back, and like now they get to enjoy the finer things in life, like traveling around. So I mean, it's cool to see.
I saw him this morning actually, and I was like, we met for. We're doing a giveaway, and they'll be kind of involved in it in a way. We'll be posting about it later this week, but we met with them at the store at 8 a.m. this morning, and I saw them, and I was like, I don't know why. I'm like, I just assume you guys have been up for like 5 hours already. and Sean was like, no. He's like, I didn't even set. He's like, I had to set an alarm for the first time in like years to get here on time. And I was like, you guys aren't early morning risers? Like, you just seem like those kinds of people. Yeah. But they're like, no. They're like, Sean was like, I did the 5 a.m. class for 6 years straight. I was like, oh yeah, you earned sleeping in.
I mean, there would be times where he would text us at the old spot, are you guys coming in? So, because I know there was several times that he showed up at 5 and nobody was there.
Oh man.
I used to do clients. I used to take clients at Fitness 19 when we were first getting started, and nobody was getting paid from Triad at all. And my 5 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. clients, those were the ones that always showed up on time. So I had to make sure to be there. So yeah,
that's brutal if they don't show up.
Now his 450 class is full every single class because my wife goes to the 450
a.m.
and it is, I mean, she'll either be like the last person to sign up or it will be full and she'll be waitlisted.
Whoa.
So
it's a different crowd at that time, man. Are you early morning?
I get up early in the morning, and I go to work.
Okay.
I mean, I try to be at work by 6, 7 o'clock every morning.
Okay.
Just because I like to get there before everybody else. It's quiet. I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Before everybody else gets there, and then and then I normally go to like their 12:30 session.
Okay.
Nice.
Kind of a lull in the. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
I looked up the highest sugar soda, by the way.
Is it Fanta?
No, it's not. Fanta's on here, but it's not Fanta. A Mountain Dew has 66 grams of sugar in a can.
Oh yeah, I'm talking bottles.
Yeah, in a can. A can of Mountain Dew has 66 grams of sugar.
At Cafe 7, that is the third highest selling soda behind Dr. Pepper and Pepsi. Then it's Mountain Dew.
Wow.
Jeez. And your Dr. Pepper, you probably only have 3 people that buy Dr. Pepper in your place because the Dr. Pepper people are crazy. Have you heard that?
No.
I like Dr. Pepper.
No, there's some Dr. Pepper people that legitimately like drink like a crate. Like Ryan used to be a Dr. Pepper person.
Where it's like it's all they drink.
Yeah, it's like they don't drink water. It's just Dr. Pepper all day long, and like they'll go through like a case a day kind of deal. Dude, there's some people with like that, and I know there's some people in general like that with soda, but like Dr. Pepper is just, it's another level. And there was a joke going around that it was like the whole Dr. Pepper economy is held up by like a dozen people. So.
That is like, I tell people all the time in these kind of situations, because it's not, I can't say it's going to be everybody's experience, but I have had multiple people that I've helped nutrition wise where all they did was make a switch from regular soda to diet soda. And I understand that it's a hard switch, and I remember my mom used to buy regular sodas when I was a kid, and we went to stay the summer at my grandpa's house, and he only bought diet soda. So it's like if you wanted a soda, you had good old late 90s diet Dr. Pepper or diet Coke that was just really had that twang to it, you know what I mean? And I remember the first one I had, I was like, oh, like this is gross. Like this is so nasty. But I'd stay the whole summer out there. And so eventually I was like, I want a soda. So I'd have a Diet Coke. I'd have a Diet Coke. And by the end of it, by the end of the summer, you're like, you know what? Like this is pretty good. It just tastes like Coke now. You know?
Go long enough without it and you're like, you forget what regular stuff tastes like.
And then I went back home. And I got home and I cracked a regular Coke, and I swear it poured out like maple syrup. Like it just tastes thick. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't, but anyway, that's my original transition, like when I was like 9. Yep. But I tell people, I've told multiple people this. I've had people switch from who were Dr. Pepper people like Ryan was, who just drink nothing but soda all day long. Just making that switch, I know it's not super fun at the beginning. I've had multiple people lose over 50 pounds because
crazy.
They just stopped abusing their pancreas with sugar all day long. Like people don't understand like the insulin, like
it's not just the calories,
it's everything. Yeah. And so it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's just like that one switch. Just go to diet.
Right.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's so much. 66 grams of sugar in a can.
Yeah.
That does pour out like syrup.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just drinking.
Those Dr. Pepper people are crazy, but we have people that come in and they're like, oh, you don't have Coke products? No. And they just turn around and walk out.
What?
They just turn around and walk out. They won't even eat here.
That's crazy.
They won't even eat at Cafe 7 because we don't have Coke products.
That's never even crossed my radar on when choosing a restaurant or choosing where I'm going to eat food.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I like certain sodas more than other, but I like water more than I like any of them. Right. So like, whatever.
You guys a Coke person or Pepsi?
I'm an unsweet tea person.
Okay. I love unsweet tea.
I'm unsweet tea.
I love unsweet tea.
Then after that, it's water.
Coke. Yeah, I'm team Coke.
Yeah. If you had to pick, well, I guess
I'm actually team Pepsi because the 5-gallon bibs are cheaper than Coke by about $15.
There you go.
So I'm team Pepsi.
That's a true business owner making decisions solely off of.
That's right. And our rebates are better too.
Yeah, that's great.
I've actually made a decent amount of supplement decisions like that over the years of just like which one supports the store a little bit more.
Right.
And like I do that almost subconsciously sometimes too, of just like I think I like this product a little bit better. Like we got a re-release of a flavor. I won't go too much into it because it actually hasn't hit the shelves yet, but we did a tweak on a flavor of something that we created that it on one of our defined products that came back not exactly the way we wanted it on our first round. It didn't match the samples, but it was still good. And it's still moving. But we just got our new batch and it does match the original samples. And it's legitimately, I talk about it as like, it's my favorite thing we make now. And it's probably just because I wanted the first round to match the sample so much that this now tastes so good. So there's kind of like a bias there a little bit.
Yeah, it gets an added flavor bonus.
Yeah.
Because it tastes the way it's supposed to.
And I'm excited about like other people trying it and it being like the version we wanted to release in the first place. Right. So it's like, that's probably why it's my favorites, because I know it'll do well in the stores. It's like, I might hate it, honestly.
Well, fellas, we're about 2 hours.
Yeah, we are coming up on 2 hours. man.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you had fun, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, dude. It was a lot of fun to sit down with you and talk with you, pick your brain. So, again, man, I feel like you guys are always so busy, and I know obviously we're busy ourselves that we don't get a lot of chances to just sit down, man. It's so now anytime I'm at Quail and I get to look over at Cafe 7, I know a whole lot more about it and the people that run it. So, man, obviously, we've got nothing but compliments and nothing but praise for you guys. You guys run amazing restaurants. And again, I genuinely didn't know that you had ownership in the Hamilton. I freaking love the Hamilton, man. It's super, it's a go-to spot for my sister as well. So anytime like my parents are in town, like she likes to set reservations over there. Great. So
it's a great place when you have people coming from out of town because it's such a fun place. Food's good. Everything's so good, but it's like it's such a cool vibe too. It's like it's always one of my like go-to recommendations.
Yeah, always a lot of fun. Always great food too.
Thank you.
So man, but nothing but compliments. Obviously, Cafe 7 is a go-to for pretty much our entire staff. Man, Dado's, the attention to detail when it comes down to just the water to make the dough, man. All of the restaurants, like if you guys haven't checked out all three of them, you definitely should. But I think most people probably have checked out a lot of them. I think most people know it, and to explain why that is my belief, is that anytime I have to explain where Triad and Quail Springs is I always use Cafe 7 as a reference point.
Awesome.
That's my explanation is, it's our Quail Springs location. We're on May, same shopping center as Cafe 7. Every single time, people know exactly where it is.
Yep.
Everybody knows where Cafe 7 is.
Awesome.
So, you guys run an extremely popular restaurant, and it's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, man, and obviously, like to kind of piggyback off what he was saying, like to hear, especially in the restaurant industry, that you've had people that have worked for you guys for 13, 14 years, like just pays testament to how you guys run your businesses and how you do everything, and like Kevin was saying, like the attention to detail, the quality, like I know I've eaten my fair share of it, and it's amazing. And it's there's a reason you guys have been around for 15 years, you know what I mean? And so super cool to have you on, and like we always talk about, like just having like-minded people who are trying to just do it right. It's super cool to have you around.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot.
Heck yeah, man. What episode was this?
55, I believe.
I think that might be right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
50.
Yeah,
that's
we've
awesome.
Done a bunch that is great.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah. Anything you want to plug or say or anything before we go?
I mean, no, I just appreciate you guys having me on. I had a lot of fun, and if you want me on again, I would love to come on again.
Heck yeah, man.
I'm saying when you guys open the sports bar.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
You and Jay, man, we'd love to have. I think it'd be fun to have you both on to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Now I want pizza.
How late is Dado's open?
9 o'clock.
Well, cool. Well, episode 55, we think. As always, appreciate everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.